Welcome to Finding Your Way with Lori and Tanya. I'm Lori.
I'm Tanya.
So today we're going to talk about this subject of intuition. And so we're going to look a little bit about what intuition is, how you can be aware of what your intuition's telling you, and then how to trust that a little bit.
Right, and so I think this is, first of all, this is something we all have. Whether you're in tune to it or not, you have it. I think since you're born, you feel things, right or wrong. You read the energy in the room. You get the gut feeling, which is what intuition is. It's that gut feeling. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, so actually everybody does have this. And so in my mind, what it is your soul. And it's your soul speaking to you if you choose to listen. And so, your intuition, your gut instinct, that you get that little cautionary feeling sometimes, or an excited feeling sometimes about things. Some things bring you joy that don't bring other people joy. That's your intuition telling you that that's something meant for you, that God put something within you to chase that.
Right. So and I think it goes both ways. So it's not, a lot of times when I think of intuition, I think it's telling me to stop something or to be cautious. But I think that definitely is a part of it. But I think it also tells you to move forward, or it tells you to go after it. It tells you, yes, this is what you're meant to be doing, or this is for you. So it goes both ways. I think the biggest part of this is we got to start trusting ourselves and slow down sometimes enough to hear it. I think it's always there.
Yeah.
Most decisions, big or small, I think there's some sort of feeling. If we'll take a minute to feel it, to recognize it, and to honor it, you would be living a better life for sure.
Yeah, so your intuition, and if you can get still and clear and actually tap into that, you've got all the answers inside of you. I think a lot of us are, I can only speak for myself, but a lot of us are people pleasers a little bit, where we want to, gather all this information and what do other people think, and, what are your thoughts on that? What should I do? When really the answers are inside of you already, and you just have to tap into that intuition to know what's right for you, for your highest good.
And I think it's little things. It's the simple things of, sometimes I have walked out to my car before and thought, yeah, I don't need to go to the store. I needed whatever it was I was getting in the car to go for, but something told me I did not need to go to the store. Before, I would have gotten in the car and driven to the store. Now I listen to that. Yeah, might not be time. And I can't say that before I didn't get in an accident every time, but the line was long. They didn't have what I wanted when I got there. I would get a phone call in the middle from somebody who needed something. So I think it's not always the big life changing events. When we're talking about intuition. We're talking about the little things. It's I put on this shirt and it didn't feel good. My gut said, yeah, don't wear that one. I didn't have to ask everybody and take a picture of it and post it and say, which one should I wear? I wore the one that felt good. And that's what my intuition told me.
Yeah, and it can go the other way too. It can actually protect you. And so, that little feeling you get on the back of your neck where it feels like the hair standing up, that's an indicator. That's your intuition giving you a physical symptom to say, caution, hold up, something's not quite right. Maybe you don't need to get on that elevator with that person, or maybe you don't need to walk where you're walking, or things like that. And so you need to be aware that this isn't special to us. This is something that everybody has. And so you got to trust yourself and tap in. So let's talk a little bit about how you can tap into that.
And it's like a muscle. So you don't just all of a sudden say, okay, I'm going to start using my intuition, and all of a sudden you just start hearing it every time. It definitely is a build skill. You build on this skill. It probably will start with the big things, and then as you progress, you start feeling that intuition about the small things. But it's definitely a buildable skill. It's a muscle, so you start working that muscle.
Yeah, so some examples. I know I got offered a job. I had gone, I had put in for the job. I had interviewed for the job. And when I left the interview, and it was something that I thought I really wanted, but when I left the interview, I remember riding in my car thinking, something in that room, something felt fishy, like something didn't feel quite right. So I didn't take the job, which shocked everybody in the room at the time. They were like, oh my gosh, you're perfect for this job and, you know, tailor-made for you, and you didn't take it. But I trusted my intuition, and come to find out there was a reason why I did not need that job, because there was some things going on with it that shouldn't have been going on. And
Right.
I didn't know all that when I walked into the room or when I applied, but I trusted how I felt. Like, I felt the energy in the room. Like, it felt like they were withholding information, or something just didn't feel quite right. So that's an example in my life of when I've really trusted it, and then come to find out there was a good reason, and thank goodness I did.
Well, and I had an example of one of my children. I have 3 boys, and so one of my children was in a daycare, and it was great. It was a great daycare facility. We just had a teacher that I like the teacher as a person. She was great, but my intuition told me this was not the right teacher for this child. This teacher had another one of my children. We loved her. It wasn't anything I could put my finger on, except my intuition said, it's better that we go somewhere else. We do something different. And I had not started doing the work yet. And I left him there for probably an extra 3 months that maybe I shouldn't have, until I realized that feeling didn't go away. It wasn't one time. It wasn't we walked in the door, didn't feel right, and we exited. And I finally made the adjustment and made the change. And it was hard to do, because hurting somebody's feelings. How do I explain that you hadn't done anything wrong and just didn't feel right? And so making the change, the instant we made the change, there was an instant change in my child, and that was strictly made off of intuition. There had been no key indicators any other way, other than how it felt.
Yeah, you have to trust your gut. So that's another phrase that people say, trust your gut. And that's what we're talking about today is everybody has that instinct, and really tapping into it. And so one way to start learning this, and I still am working on it. Like, I'm still working on really trusting how I feel and how that gut instinct to make decisions, big decisions, small decisions. But I'm getting better at it, and I feel like your path just is so much smoother when you trust that gut instinct. And so the way I have worked to the point where I am trusting it more is, I meditate every day. I get still enough to hear it, because which God is I'd say has a great sense of humor. He'll send you some knock you upside the head signs, right? I mean, we all know this.
Yes.
We've all been hit upside the head with signs of what you should be doing. But you don't have to get at that point. If you get still every day, you start listening. And it really is sort of like this internal nudge. It's just being aware of how something makes you feel. Does it make you feel excited? That might be for you. Does it make you feel apprehensive? Maybe you should listen to that.
And I think that as you go through and you start getting still, and still doesn't always mean you meditate for 20 minutes. I mean, heck, sometimes I can't meditate for more than 3. But it just means you take a minute before you take action. If at all, before you do something, there's a pause, whether it be good or bad, take a minute. How does it feel instinctively to you? If you close your eyes for 2 seconds, how does that feel? If it feels good, then go for it. If it doesn't, then really think about why it doesn't, and then make a decision. But at least it's an informed decision, and it's based internally, instead of worrying about pleasing others, what's the best interest of someone else, or hurting somebody's feelings.
Well, it's almost like a heart over head decision, because like it or not, our minds are filled with all of our experiences from life. And so sometimes those things, we hold on to things in our mind that may really not be true. And so you can't rely on your mind to tell you the truth all the time. And so, but you can rely on that soul, on your spirit, on your intuition to guide you in the right direction every single time. Yep. Every single time.
So I think you start with this one just a little bit. Take a minute, take a pause. How does it feel before you make some decisions?
Yeah, so hopefully that y'all start listening to your intuition and actually acting on what your intuition pushes you towards,
That's right.
Nudges you towards.
That's right. All right, so we hope you found this helpful. If you like what you've heard here today, please like us. subscribe to us so you can start getting updates on when we post these. Please share these with your friends, anybody that you think could benefit. We'd love to be able to be of service to as many people as possible. And we also have a fabulous Facebook group called the Positive Vibe Tribe. Join us there as well. Every day it's a sweet nugget of something fun and good that everybody in our community is sharing. So hope that this is helpful, and hope that you'll subscribe.